Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. It is Vlogmas Day 3 and for you today I have a dessert recipe. This recipe has been in the family for a long time. It originated with my sister-in-law, with Doug's sister, and we absolutely love it. I always keep the ingredients on hand. There's only one that I really never have on hand if I'm not thinking about it, and that is the cherry pie filling. But I always try to have a can of that on the shelf because if I need a quick dessert, this is definitely one of my go-tos. We are making today, they are called cherry bars. It is a cake layer with a cherry layer and then a little bit more cake on top with a beautiful glaze. They're simple to make. They feed a good number of people and they're absolutely delicious. So let's get making some cherry bars because if you have a Christmas party to go to or a potluck or whatever, you're going to want to take these with you. For the cherry bars, we're going to need a can of cherry pie filling. We're going to need some vanilla, some baking powder, 4 eggs, 1 cup of softened butter, flour, sugar, and then for the glaze, we're going to need some powdered sugar, some almond extract, and a little bit of milk. So that is all we need to make these, and most of these, I'm sure, are a staple in your kitchen. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is take our 2 sticks or 1 cup of softened butter and put them in our mixer along with 1 3/4 cup of sugar. We're going to cream those until they are light and fluffy. Okay, this is looking good. I'm just going to stop and scrape it down. And I'm going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then we're going to add in 4 eggs, 1 at a time, beating well after each one. Once all of our eggs are added in, I'm just going to give it another scrape down. And we're going to turn it on for just a few more seconds. And now we're going to start adding in our flour and baking powder. It does not say to combine them. I never have. I just put in 3 cups of flour and then my baking powder. And then we're going to add in 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. And mix until it's all combined. Now this step is totally optional. But I am very, very bad at eyeballing things. So I weigh out all of my batter. I know how much my bowl weighs, so I can just minus that. I divide my batter into 2/3 and 1/3. So I need to take out 418 grams of this for the 1/3. Like I said, you can 100% eyeball this. It is just not a strong skill of mine. I never ever come out with the right amount. A little bit more. So we want about 418 grams. Close enough. We're going to put that aside. That's going to be our topping. And now we just need our pan. I have a 10 by 15 jelly roll pan that I've greased. This is a Pampered Chef baking stone. That's why it's so dark. And we are going to spread that 2/3 of the batter evenly into our pan. Okay, once we get that all spread out evenly in the pan, we're going to take our can of cherry pie filling and we are going to spread that out. I wish these cans were just a little bigger. I tried to make it with 2 cans one time and it was way too much. So we just really have to spread this out. Take your time. You don't want to disturb the cake batter underneath. I just start by spreading it out the best I can. And then I actually pick up the cherries and move them around a little bit if there's too many that are clumped together, because you want this. You want pie filling over the entire surface. It doesn't necessarily have to be a cherry, but you definitely need to get some of the gel everywhere. Because it wouldn't be fun to just have a plain old piece of cake when it's supposed to be a cherry bar. See, and what I mean, this corner has no cherries, but there's a big clump here. So I'm just going to take a couple and relocate them. Not a problem to do. Anywhere you see where it's lacking and where there's clumps, just relocate. And I really take my time during this part because, like I said, I want to make sure there's cherry over the entire surface. I've thought about getting 2 cans and using like a 1 1/4 or a 1 1/3. And I never remember until I go to do this part. But this is the original written recipe, so. And I did check, and the cans are the same. They're still 21 ounces, so they didn't shrink. Because so many times you go to make a recipe. The other day I went to make a recipe and it called for an 11-ounce package. Well, shrinkflation, and all the packages are now 9.5 ounce. The kind of recipe it is, it's not going to matter, but certain things actually can. So you always have to just be really careful of that. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now we're going to take our remaining 1/3 batter. I like to use my cookie scoop, but you can just use a spoon. And we're just going to plop this over the cherries. Okay. We're going to take that offset spatula again. I don't even bother cleaning it because I kind of like when we have some cherry swirl in there. I think it looks pretty. And very carefully and very slowly, we're just going to spread this out. It does not have to cover 100%. I like it to cover at least 90%. I think you get a better result. But you can spread it pretty thin. And this takes patience. These are not hard to make at all. They're really not. They just take patience. And I will tell you, it does not matter where I take them. The tray empties. They are a huge, huge hit. I'm going to go off camera and finish this up because this will be very monotonous with watching it. You don't certainly need to see me do the whole thing. We'll come back when she's done. We'll talk about baking it. Okay, there is our cherry bars all done. We're going to put them in a 350-degree oven for 45 minutes. You can test with a toothpick in the center, make sure it comes out clean, but for me, 45 minutes is perfect. Here are our delicious cherry bars out of the oven. They need to cool completely before we glaze them, so we're just going to leave them on our cooling rack and let them sit until they are completely cool. Now that our cherry bars have cooled down, we're going to make the glaze. I have 1 cup of 10x sugar. And to that, I have my brand new, as you can see. There we go. To that, we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. And we're going to add about 1 tablespoon of milk to start. And we are just going to whisk this together until it forms a nice glaze consistency. Now we want to drizzle this on top. We don't want to spread it. So a little bit more milk. There we go. That looks good. Yes, I should have sifted the 10x, but I didn't. Okay. Now we're just going to glaze our entire pan of cherry bars. No rhyme or reason. You can do however you want. Now I'm going to go up and down. Then once the glaze sets, you can cut these into squares and serve them up. There we have it. Our cherry bars.